let's talk about this finale. So the finale of season 5, When It Falls to Heart, was called Close to My Heart, and it answered the question that was on everybody's mind, which is Jack really dead? Let's just get on to my thoughts about this. I thought Erin Krakow did a good job, even in the last episode and this episode. She's very talented. When Erin cries, I cry. So great job, Erin. The town was there for her, and I thought that was very sweet. All the widows gathered around and basically told Elizabeth of their story of getting over their husband. I thought that was sweet, and I thought that was an interesting choice. But at the same time, I couldn't help but think that their husbands died in a mine accident, and now Elizabeth's husband died because the writers are not creative enough. But anyways, the funeral itself was kind of sad. There was no brother there for Jack. There was no mother there for Jack. The Mountie superintendent mustache guy that was there for Jack's best friend's funeral wasn't there for Jack's funeral, which didn't make sense because I thought Jack had a higher standing than his best friend, so why would that guy not be there? Now moving on to Jack's letter. As much as the producers are trying to make us believe that Jack wrote that letter, I feel like they don't have a good grasp over the characters in this show, because we, the viewers, have been watching Jack and Elizabeth, the characters, for 5 seasons now, and I personally don't believe that Jack, on his way to go to the Northwest Territories, would have had, first of all, the time to write that letter, because when he told Elizabeth and then they got engaged and then he put a bunch of candles on the ground and a bunch of flower petals and then they had a party and then he had to leave, it didn't seem like he had any time to write that letter. But, I mean, okay, if he had time to write that letter, I still don't believe that Jack, who just proposed to Elizabeth, would even ever say, "I hope you open your heart to love again." I just don't believe it. I just feel like the character itself would not be having that kind of mindset at that moment. And I feel like the writers just forced that line and forced that letter into there just as a plot device, just so they can force the character of Elizabeth to move on, because they believe that that's what's drawing people to this show. They believe that what's drawing people to this show is like some sort of romantic thing happening, when it's not just the romance that drew people in. It was specifically Daniel Lissing and Erin Krakow's acting and their chemistry. That's what drew people in. So maybe they didn't understand that. But anyways, so those are my thoughts about the actual episode. When Opal went to Elizabeth and said, "I didn't have a chance to say thank you for Mountie Jack for saving my life," in her age, I feel like she wouldn't say something like that. I feel like that's something that an adult would have a struggle with, that they would have deep thoughts about, oh, like, they saved my life, I didn't have a chance to thank them. But at Opal's age, I feel like she wouldn't have a thought like that, so that was a very unrealistic line. In Opal's age, I think she would have said something like, "I'm sad, I never got to say goodbye." Like, that would have been enough, I think. But I think, yeah. So for me, as much as I loved season 1 and I kind of grew to love the other seasons after that, I won't be watching season 6 because I already know that I won't be able to rewatch the series from the beginning, and I just feel like watching season 6 would just be torturing myself, and that doesn't make me not a true fan. I actually think that if people don't understand why people are upset, then you're not a true fan. That's just for all the Hardys that are like, oh, if you stop watching now, you're not a true Hardy. You're not a true Hardy because true Hardys understand what we've all been through. Like we've all been through there for each other every step of the way as they've been dragging the story on, as the writers have been like putting us into this emotional roller coaster. We've all been there. And so if you're not upset and if you don't understand why we're upset, then you're not a true fan. Just saying. And so, yeah. So, moving forward, I've heard rumors that they want to do a time jump, that they are going to have a new love interest for Elizabeth. And I think it is cute that that she has a baby now, that, you know, she has something to remember Jack by. But I still believe that in 18 months that they knew, I feel like they could have just rewritten, even the way that the whole season 5 was written, even if they wanted to kill off Jack in this season, they just didn't write it well. That's all. Like, I don't know why they gave us that false hope that he was going to go somewhere safe, and like, it was just weirdly written, and I'm not going to go into details about why it was badly written. That's just my opinion. So, moving forward, there has been word that the producers of the show want to introduce a new love interest to Elizabeth. And they think that doing a time jump will be enough to justify this choice. But I personally believe that this is a very bad move, and that, again, this would just show that the producers and the writers don't understand their characters. They don't understand their story, and they don't understand their fans. Because for the first 5 seasons, the fans were watching Jack and Elizabeth grow closer together. So when you just suddenly kill off a character like that you've built for 5 seasons, you can't just make the other character move on that quickly. Even during the live feed, Brian Bird said that they kind of copied Downton Abbey. And I can tell that they have been copying Downton Abbey. First of all, season 1's theme music was beautiful. I don't know why they changed in season 2, because they wanted to try to copy Downton Abbey. And they said that they tried to copy Downton Abbey in killing off the lead male and doing it while him and his wife were at a good place, like on a happy note. And the reason why I think that's a bad comparison is because When Calls the Heart is so different from Downton Abbey. First of all, Downton Abbey was not about Mary and Matthew. Downton Abbey was actually about the class differences between the upstairs, the aristocrats, and the servants, and the tensions that happened between them, and the tensions that happened within their own status. And so Matthew and Mary were kind of just like a part of that cast. It already started as an ensemble cast. But when When Calls the Heart started, it was not an ensemble cast. When Calls the Heart was actually When Calls the Heart actually started with the characters of Jack and Elizabeth. So because they are the ones that are actually the main characters, I feel like killing him off was already a bad idea, and then making her move on after that is the worst idea, if you know what I'm trying to say. I feel like since they've already killed off Jack, the best thing they can do is focus on Elizabeth as an individual and as a mother, and move on from trying to do something romantic with her and have her go on a different kind of journey, you know? Like, even as an actor, I'm sure that Aaron Krakow would really appreciate that, because, no offense, even though Daniel Lissing and Aaron Krakow were in a lot of scenes, and even in season 3 and season 4, I feel like the writing was a little bit not as good as season 1, that all that they did was kiss. And they didn't really go through a lot of character development. So, like, for Aaron Krakow to just be kissing and laughing and giggling and flirting again, like, yeah, she's getting over the death of her husband, but I feel like that's just too much. Like, I think she should be able to expand her acting into something else. Like, you don't have to make her fall in love again. Like, we already saw her fall in love. It would be nice to see Dottie Ramsey fall in love. It would be nice to see Florence fall in love. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense that a town full of widows never moved on, but you're gonna force the one teacher to move on. So if they are gonna do time jump, I'm also kind of concerned for the kid actors because then you can't use them anymore because they're not gonna grow that fast within 2 years or whatever. There's kids grow up really fast within 1 year, and if they just grew a little bit, it's not gonna be believable. So are you gonna fire the kids? I don't know. Anyway,